Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with what many of you say is your favourite show of the week. It is Talking Tactics time. Do make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, we are over 3,400 subscribers now, on the road to 4K. So yeah, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and get involved in the comments with your thoughts of Saturday's excellent game, excellent performance. And to go through it with us is our favourite tactics guru, Gareth. How are you doing, mate?
Very well, very well. Yeah, nice to get another win under the belt at home.
Exactly. Yeah, back to winning ways at home, and we did hint at the fact that against Man United, it seemed like a little bit of the old Villa kind of was coming back at home. Obviously, the result against Fulham helped in terms of getting that confidence back, but certainly that start to the game we had on Saturday kind of really did show that the old Villa was back, so to speak.
Yeah, we do tend to start well, don't we? Especially at home, we do tend to start games quite well. But yeah, 2-0 up within 15 minutes, and fantastic, and it sets the bedrock for that game. But you never quite thought it was over, did you? Even at 2-0, I think, and we've seen that across the Premier League. This we saw it last night. Even at 2-1 up, you're not quite there. You need that third goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got our usual kind of Viz images, and yeah, if you want to see more of that, make sure you check out Gareth's website, which we'll put in the link in the description, and also follow him at his new Twitter handle, Analytics GC. But let's get into it. So, passing network first, mate. Our usual. Anything out of the ordinary? Anything that you noticed here in particular that we utilised?
Yeah, I did want to highlight one thing. What I will say, Martinez to Longley, 34 passing combinations, and then Longley to Louise, 33 passing combinations. So the top two, we can see that sort of how important Longley was, and I know he's in the middle here. That's because it's an average position. He switched over to right back, left centre back, sorry, once Pau Torres had gone off and Callum Chambers had to come on. So that's the change there that we can see. But the third highest passing combination for Villa was Cash to Bailey with 23 passing combinations. But interestingly, it was 17 passes to Bailey and only 6 passes back to Matty Cash. So we can see that Matty Cash is starting to become quite an influence in the build-up play as opposed to that left-hand side. It's a little bit of a change, and it just shows the growing influence that he's trusting on that right-hand side.
Yeah, and it's going to help, isn't it, with regards to, we touched on this a few weeks back, where it's going to help with the unpredictability of Villa, not for the opposition, not being able to just push us down one side or understand where the attacks are going to just come from one side, and getting into this business end of the season, being able to score goals from all angles, being able to attack from different areas is vitally important.
Yeah, I think when we talk about people talk about, well, we want a balanced side, but what does that then entail these days? Because Villa like to build up from the left-hand side and we don't tend to do so much from the right-hand side. Is that the balance that we want? Or do we, like we've talked about, do you want another Mourinho where Matty Cash is so that you've got that balanced on both wings? Seems to me like we've got it quite right at the moment. With Leon Bailey, the difficulty is that Mourinho is a better attacker than Matty Cash on the left-hand side, but yet Leon Bailey is so vitally important on the right-hand side, you can't then not afford to build up down the right. So do you go through the centre and then play out? But it doesn't seem we're doing that. We seem to be preferring to go through Matty Cash, and we didn't see him overlap. We'll get into that, but we didn't see him attack really at all on Saturday, and I think we're just starting to find out why.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So let's look at the expected threat. Contribution. Morgan Gibbs-White featured at the top, but then you've got Leon Bailey, John McGinn, and Matty Cash, 3 out of the top 4 Villa there at the top. So yeah, some linking back to what you were saying there, Matty Cash and Leon Bailey heavily involved in the attacking threat, and obviously we saw that with the goals.
Yeah, people are obviously seeing sort of Matty Cash not going forward, they take that as the expected threat sort of thing. Well, he's not going forward. Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is that he's playing passes into Leon Bailey into good areas. And that's why we see him more and more. We're seeing him more and more up the top. And this is where data backs up the eye test, or the theory, if you like, that we're seeing Matty Cash more and more up these bar charts that I do. And you can see that Leon Bailey is there as well. That's a combination. So that's what we're talking about.
That's good. That's good. And obviously, as the Moreno and Ramsey combination starts to get back to kind of its best, then that obviously bodes well. Looking at the locations, again, what are we? Anything that you're noticing here with regards to where the passings are coming from and going to?
I mean, I think we can see a lot of that, right? Sort of that central area, sort of on the right hand side, from central areas to the right hand side, is almost Douglas Luiz, I think, out to the little sort of Leon Bay. It's hard to pinpoint what exact passes were what, but we can see a lot of activity in those sort of what we call half spaces, if you like, on the other sides of the pitch, on both sides of the pitches. And that's quite important. But yeah, it's hard to sort of see where we talked about in the group, sort of our WhatsApp group, about Moreno. So I'm not quite sure about what Unai Emery sees in him as of yet, what he brings to the team. I know that sounds silly, but it doesn't sort of, for me, he took him off for Luca Digne, didn't he? And I think he's sort of in a bit of a quandary there.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Look, obviously, in terms of the expected threat pass locations, I guess this is for Forest here. This is the opposition. 2 corners in there in that area. One of the goals was scored into that back post area. Are you concerned about the corners, the threat from corners?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am concerned about it. I'm going to try and do something a little bit on that, I think, for next time, because it's important that we talk, because it seems to be our Achilles heel, doesn't it, at the minute? And you worry about, especially when we come up against Arsenal and, in soon enough, what a massive threat we've seen them from set pieces, and we're not defending them as well as we should. That, I think, points to a great loss in Tyrone Mings for me. I know it's just one player, but he was the player that stood at that near post that was able to clear those balls away. We don't seem to be as aggressive in Longley and Pau Torres in our centre halves at set pieces, I don't think. And we're not the tallest of sides, are we?
No. Yeah, it's going to be... it's in some ways, you can be as inventive as you want with corners for, but you've just got to go back to the old school defending in corners against and just head it and kick it out. And we just don't seem to be mastering that at the moment. But you can't ask for everything, but it is a potential kind of threat against us at the moment.
Yeah, of course. I think you've got to be aggressive as well. But a lot of it these days is sort of like to do with blockers and things like that. And when you've got people like, and I'm not singling them out for being weak, but when you've got players like Moreno and players like that who are maybe not as strong of blockers as what we could have, that's what a lot of it comes down to these days. And yeah, I do worry, especially against Arsenal.
Yeah. Quick look at the XG. Pretty high for both teams in terms of that. But yeah, Villa, 4 goals, 3.7 XG. It's pretty decent. 16 shots.
Really good. We can't complain. Our XG's been pretty good lately. We're creating a lot of chances, and we're scoring. We could be more clinical, possibly, but we can't say that in this game, of course, because we scored the 4 goals from the 3.7. So we've exceeded the XG. We've done our job, and at 0.23 per shot, that's decent. That's a decent return.
Brilliant. And then the timeline, straight from the off, as you said, can't really complain. Consistently making chances, would you say, from that?
Yeah, exactly that. And we talked last week about Fulham scoring goals at important times, before and after half time. We've done it again, just before half time and on 60 minutes. They're the sort of game. And I think even at 3-0, did we all think it was over? Maybe, possibly not. But once that 4th went in as well, we could see that we were going to finish that game off. But yeah, goals at important times. And he'll be pleased about that, because that's the 2nd week in a row.
Yeah, 100%. We'll get into the still images in a second, but if you like what you see, guys, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to help us continue to grow. We want to push on to 4,000 subscribers as soon as we can, and we're making good headway thanks to your support. But yeah, keep liking, keep subscribing, and get your comments in as well and your thoughts on Saturday's performance. So yeah, let's quickly have a look at the still images, Gareth. So first of all, you wanted to look at the out of possession and talk about the back 3 benefits. So yeah, what did you notice here, mate?
Yeah, I think this is where Matty Cash. I thought he had a really good game, Matty Cash. I know he didn't do a great deal offensively, but I thought defensively positioning he was very, very good, and he was coached a lot from the sidelines. I noticed more. There was a lot of Matty I could hear, and it was sort of like the positioning was really good. And I think him not being part of that offensive build-up play so much really plays into our hands really well. Forest are very good on the counter. They got some nippy players really quick, and I think that's why he took a 1 year off eventually, because it just wasn't being as effective. And when we played Forest at their place, we got battered by the offensive line, the high line, didn't we? Really, it was really risky at times, and we got away with a lot. And I think he was really wary of that on Saturday. So yeah, I think Matty Cash is sort of that back three. I'll talk about the back three sort of in possession, but in the transitions we can still see it happening there, and I think that's important.
Yeah. No, it's been seen in the last couple of games where Cash has adopted that role, and he seems much more comfortable in kind of just being given that one specific job and kind of make sure your defensive solidity is covered first, and then go from there. And it seems to have helped Villa out much more. Second thing, better first phase shape. So yeah, how did you kind of see this in terms of our build up?
Yeah, I just thought it was better in terms of you've got two centre halves either side of Martinez, and you've not got Mourinho whacking himself up really high there, or Matty Cash. You've got a nice sort of foundation of a back four there, and you've got the two centre midfielders in McGinn and Douglas Luiz and Jacob Ramsey just out of shot here. But we'll go on to that in a bit. It just looked a bit better for me. Forest were in a 4-1-4-1, and it sort of. They almost played into our hands a little bit. Teams do struggle with our shape like that, I must admit. It's depended on whether they decide to press high, but I just thought it was a little bit of a better in the first phase for me.
Yeah, no, yeah, excellent. And then you said about Jacob Ramsey, just a little focus on him. So what did you notice from Ramsey?
Yeah, it was just a case of, I think he is the key. I think he's sort of coming back into the side for me in that sort of position there. He really is the key. And this is what I talk about when sort of teams struggle to adapt to the shape. Because if you play a 4 in midfield or you play just a 1 against us, we're always in these half space positions, and Tielemans decides to drop into that right one. He is more of a hybrid sort of, he's not a number 10, he's more of a number 8 alongside Ramsey, but that allows Bailey to then keep the width, obviously. So Tielemans drops into that role, and you can see here the perfect 4-2-2 shape, Bailey with wide. But Ramsey and Danilo and Dominguez, they couldn't really sort of figure out how to do it. They were a 4-1-4-1 out of position, and they were a 4-2-3-1 in it. But there was difficulty in picking up sort of Dominguez and Danilo. There you can see them in the double pivot there. They were quite unsure as to who drops in. What does Nico Williams do at right back? Does he come out to Moreno here? Does he drop into Ramsey? And I think that's what we do really well.
Yeah. You could see almost just picking them off at will, with some of our movement in the first half, especially when we get playing 1 and 2 touch. It's mesmerizing for the opposition and great to see for us. You've put their Forest 4-2-3-1 in possession. Is this what were you under? Is this again like the Dominguez Danilo partnership struggling?
Yeah, you got the two CDMs there, Danilo and Dominguez, and they were trying to play in a double pivot, but it was really quite difficult for them because we pressed a little bit higher in this. Douglas Luiz is happy to push forward, and we're trying to block off passing lanes down. They really struggled to get out with us, really.
Yeah. It was almost scintillating that first half, and you've kind of highlighted it here with regards to how we kind of pressed them and how effective it was.
Yeah, Dominguez is more the ball player of the two in the centre out of him and Danilo. So he decides that he's going to drop to this sort of right back position, if you like, and Nico Williams has pushed up further up on the right hand side. But it doesn't bother us because we've got the 4 across with midfield. We've got Tielemans coming in on Danilo, and Watkins is happy to press and everything else. Ramsey can come out here. It doesn't really cause us any problems when teams playing a 4-2-3-1 against us because we can cope with it. We're happy to sit in a mid block. It's pretty easy for us.
Yeah. Does it? I wanted to raise this point because I spoke to on our reaction show the other day, and looking at that and kind of the balance that we've got in the side at the moment. It's interesting because we've got a lot of pace in that, or deceptive pace in that midfield. We've in terms of closing down. We've got a striker who likes to come running behind, can also hold it up, and he's obviously in a rich vein of form. But in that midfield, you've got a Tielemans who likes to play passes, like through balls, tries the difficult pass. You've got Ramsey who can get your territory and run with the ball, brilliant running with the ball. You've got Louise who's a playmaker and who can pop up with goals as well. And you've got McGinn who's that heartbeat, that driving force, closing people down. It's almost like that midfield balance is almost perfect at the moment for different ways of either attacking in possession or out of possession, stopping teams from playing.
Yeah, I think it's not an issue, but I think John McGinn is that sort of, he's not a problem, but he creates a problem almost for his manager, because he was an unsung hero really on Saturday. You barely noticed him, but he did the work, and I think whether he plays forward or he plays, I think he is that utility man in midfield. He can play anywhere, so that his place in the team is pretty much solidified. It's when Kamara comes back in, then what do you do? Or if you're going to sign players, what do they do? Because as you say, the side is balanced. It's pretty good as long as there's no injuries. It's pretty balanced. So when you're looking at signing players, are they going to come in and want to sit on it? Where do they see them? So am I going to come into this Villa side? Because JJ is pivotal in this side. I think when he's fit and when he's going in those positions, like you say, to drive up the pitch and gain you ground and gain you territory, that's what you need. And Ollie Watkins is the key up front, isn't he? So it's what do you do? But the balance is really, really good. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm really loving it at the moment. We seem to have got over that dodgy spell. Obviously big game on Saturday against Luton. The part of that 3-game series that we wanted, looking at getting maximum points from. We've obviously passed 2 of those tests. It's going to be a different test against Luton on Saturday, though.
Yeah, another aerial battle, you would imagine. Another sort of team who are reasonably fair at set pieces. They've got some tall lads in there, so it's going to be one of them. And it's a tricky place, isn't it? We've done it before, and I think it's just one of them sort of games where you've got to try and see that over the line, because these are the teams that you should really be beating, shouldn't you? So yeah, you've got to do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll be here for talking tactics again, hopefully celebrating another victory. I did touch on the fact that you've got a website up, Gareth, and your new Twitter handle. Just give that a shout out, please, mate.
Yeah, gcanalytics.net. So just get yourself all the match reports and all the Villa stuff will be uploaded in there and everything after every game.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you all for watching. Make sure you do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Help us on the road to 4K. Get your comments in. And as Gareth says, check out his Twitter page at AnalyticsGC. Check out his website as well, which we'll put the link in the description. We'll be back with Fans Forum, match preview for Luton, match reaction, your usual stuff, possibly some lunchtime lives as well if any more news comes out of the Villa universe. But as always, thank you for watching. And remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.